75th Independence Day, we started this. One of my student and now my colleague Deepak, he had once we were having a discussion. He told me about this heritage, Indian heritage. People don't know, and we don't have many materials on this in this part of the country, Odisha. Then I thought that let me try to collect some material and give webinars. The first webinar was the contribution of India, ancient India to geometry. The second one was contribution of ancient India to binary number system. And this one is the we, what we know, what we don't. So let me start with this background. Let me start. Now you can see in this picture, uh, we have year. Year is 1 year is the Earth going around the Sun. Complete one rotation is 1 year. We have month. The Moon rotating around Earth. Complete one rotation is month. Then a fortnight. The cycles of Moon. So one complete cycle from new moon to full moon is fortnight. Half full moon to new moon is a fortnight. Then we have a day. Earth spinning around its axis is a day. All these are measures of time, and these are based on some astronomical phenomena like rotation or spinning. Now, week is also a measure of time, but it does not fit into this. Any of these astronomical phenomena is not connected to week directly. You cannot connect the week to any of or any kind of such astronomical phenomenon. But week is a measure of time, and we are very frequently using week, the weekdays in the week. Now the question is why this week is so. Why we have got a week? Why in the week there are few number of days, 7 or 8 or 10, whatever it is, but number of days are fixed in a week. The days are named in a week, but year is not named, month has a name, fortnight is not named, day is not named. How week is named? What is the logic behind the names in the week, weekdays? Why there are 8 days? And most importantly, from where the concept of week came. So these are few questions that we are going to find out. And among these, the week is the odd one. So we will concentrate on this odd one, the week. Next. So about week, we know certain facts, and there are certain facts about which we may not be very much aware. So let us see what we know. First revise that. Let us revise what we know. Then we will see what we are not very aware of. Uh, the French Revolution, this happened in 1793. After the revolution, the revolutionaries they prepared a new calendar for France. This calendar had, instead of 12 months, it had 10 months, 30 days in a month, and 3 weeks in a month. Each week had 10 days, and each day had 10 hours. So instead of 7-day week, we had this is an instant where we have 10 days week. But this did not last much. Similarly, early Romans in the 6th century BC, they used a 8 days week. The eighth day was to accommodate the market day. So they used to have a market on a fixed day. That was the eighth day of the week. And at different places, this eighth day will be different so that the market can shift from one point to another point. This came from ancient Etruscans. This is called the Nundinum week or Nundinum method of timing. This was proposed in 7th century, 8th century BC. So this is about the early days of week. There we this knowledge is rarely available 10 days week or 8 days week. Then we come to the 7-day week. Now why there are 7 days in a week, 10 days, 8 days we saw. Why 7 days in a week? If you look at the Hebrew Bible, the Hebrew Bible says that this world was created in 6 days by God, and the seventh day God took rest. So God rested on seventh day. So there is a total 7 days. This 7 days period, maybe because of this, there is a 7-day week. There can be other reasons. We'll see some other reasons also. And then another ancient civilization is the Babylon civilization. In the Babylon civilization, 7 is a very significant number. In ancient Babylon, they had a 7-day cycle, which is very important for them. And that gives the first evidence of the 7-day week. They use this 7-day week. It started from ancient Babylon. This is what we know. I am not saying that it is ancient Babylon. They gave us 7 days, but we know in the history that this first evidence of 7-day week comes from ancient Babylons. Why? The priest king Budia of Lagash. Lagash was there one of their capitals. So in 2600 BC, this king constructed a 7-room tower to celebrate for a celebration of 7-day festival. So 7-day festival, for 7-day festival they had a 7-room tower, and this indicates since 7-day festival, so the cycle is a 7-day cycle. The festival cycle is 7-day cycle. Every year they used to conduct this festival. So from this we see that 7-day was from Babylon, must be from Babylon. Besides this, religious significance of 7, 14, 21st, 28, all are divisible by 7. For the month, these were considered auspicious days of his month. So this was in Babylon. Next. Now this is mythology. Let us say these are all mythology. Then let us consider who were in Babylon. These Babylonians, their forefathers were called Arcadians. Both Arcadians and Babylonians were ardent astronomers. The Babylonians inherited the astronomy from Arcadians. They, without using telescope, Babylonians were first to identify many of the constellations that we know today. This is available in their literature. They identified what is called planets today as the bodies which are not moving like stars. That they called planets, opposite to the Greek. Greek said the planets were wanderers, stars were static. Babylonians were opposite to that. Bodies which are not moving like stars are called planets in the universe. And they mapped the stars and followed the planets in their astronomy. So they were good astronomers. Next. Now, based on this astronomy, their grip on astronomy, there are three theories behind this 7-day week. Why there will be 7 days? behind the 7 day week, Babylonian 7 day week, there are three theories. The first is what we call now Great Bears or Great Radius or Great Wain. This constellation was invented by Babylonians. So this is the first theory. The second theory is using whatever astronomical instruments that they had, or in naked eye, they had identified 7 planets. So because of 7 planets, they might have given 7 day week. And the third theory is next. huh, the moon phase is roughly of 7 days. So from full moon to half of the moon, that takes about 7 days. So in these three cases, 7 is indicated. Because of these 7, each of these theories might have contributed to a 7 days Babylonian week. Next. Now let us move to Europe. In Europe, when this 7 days week was there, or how it came to Europe. Now, the 7 days week, from history, we say that Mesopotamians and Jews, they have given the 7 days week to Europe. When Alexander in, invaded this part of the world, he came to the Middle East, and this part he invaded, then came to India. In that journey, he got the idea of 7 day week, and that was carried back by Greeks to Europe. This is one condition. Then in Europe, in the Roman days, where there was 8 day week earlier, the ruler Constantine, he was very much influenced by the Greek civilization, and from Greek civilization, he adopted the 7 days week. Then this Roman rule in the Europe, that brought 7 days week completely to the Europe. Next. So that is about how this 7 day week came into existence. Now comes the names of the week. In Babylonian, they had identified 7 planets. These planets were called Samas for sun, Sin for moon, Nergal for Mars, that way up to Ishtar for Venus. But whether they called Saturn as Sabatu or not, that is a question mark. That is not I am not very sure about this. I have not got concrete information about this, but some information indicate that they called Saturn as Sabatu. Later, Jews called it Sabbath, the holiday. The Saturday is holiday from them. So these are the planets. According to the planets, they had each planet they associated with gods. So God's name and planet's name were same. Then they gave the same name to the 7 day week. So 7 days were also named accordingly, the same name as the planets for the gods and for the weekdays. So this is first evidence of weekdays name. Then ancient Romans, they knew about planets and stars. They called planets to be wanderers like Greeks and stars to be fixed in the sky. Now, they associated Roman gods, with planets, and accordingly, they gave name to the weekdays by associating those gods or planets with one day of the week. So accordingly, sun becomes Solis, moon becomes Lunae, Saturn became Saturni in Latin. So the planets and their names in Roman. Then similarity between Germanic or Roman name, these languages are very similar to each other, and the English weekdays names. This tradition of assigning the name of a god to the planet and associating planet to a weekday. This was borrowed by British from Greeks and Romans, whereas they were applying the name of the gods, their original name of the gods. Now, if you look at these names here, the planets are on the left side. The first one is Luna, which is for Monday, and last two are Saturno for Saturday, Sol for Sunday. Now, from this you can conclude, we can also say why we call lunar and solar, from Luna and Sol. For sun, we are not calling it solar light. We are calling it solar light, not sunlight. We are not calling uh, lunar month. We are calling lunar month instead of moon month. So these names have come from these letters, and they are equivalent names of in different languages, different space. In Europe, is this. Finally, if you look at this, from planet is associated to Spanish, Romania, Italian, and French. But planet name, Latin planet name, is not associated with English names, though it is. So only thing that you can associate is Monday, Saturday, and Sunday. But we cannot associate Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. How these names come? Let us try to find that out. Now these associations were with respect to some god, as we have discussed. But when the church came into power in the 6th century, church said that many gods is a pagan tradition. So we have to do away with pagan tradition. So do not use the Roman god's name for weekdays. So do away with that name. So accordingly, Pope Sylvester in the 6th century, he proposed the names to be the first day, second day, third day, which are Secunda is second day, Tertia is third day. That way you use the names. His proposal was somewhat accepted in the eastern part of the Europe, but mostly western part rejected this proposal. They didn't accept this. They continued with the original names, the names associated with God. This was evident in Greek. So the Greek weekdays after the Pope were this diphtheria, triti, tetati, pinti, paraskevi, Sabato for Saturday, and Kriaki for Sunday. We started with Monday to Saturday. So these were the Greek days, but they also didn't last long. After some time, they also adopted the earlier God's name. Next. Now let us uh, try to find out these weekdays names in English. To do that, we have to see the origin of the English language. The Latin language is a Romanic language, and from Latin language, French language is derived. Whereas English language is a Germanic language, but it has many words derived from French and derived from Latin. So English is a Germanic language with words from French and Latin. Let us see how that affects the naming of the week. So that gives us actually the source of English weekdays, the 7 days. They worshipped in those days, early days, the worshipping were of two types in the Europe. Roman type of worshipping and British or English, which is called Anglo-Saxons are there those, and their Viking cousins, their type of worshipping. The Anglo-Saxons or Viking cousins, they worship Norse gods, whereas Romans had their own gods like Jupiter, Saturn, etc. Romans had their own gods. Therefore, the week names have come from Roman gods originally, that is to be transferred to the Norse gods for Anglo-Saxons. Norse gods are to be associated with the weekdays. So how that happens? This is the algorithm. So we have Roman gods. They are associated with planets. Planets are associated with days of the week. Roman gods are to be transformed to Norse gods, and Norse gods are to be associated with the days of the week. So this way, the name of the week is given. Next, English. Now, Roman god of war, first day Sunday is in Roman it is Sunday, in British it is Sunday. Monday is from moon, so in British it is Monday, moon day from that Monday, Roman also Monday. Now comes the Tuesday, the Mars. So this is Mars is the Roman god of war, but the Norse god equivalent Norse god is called Tu. He is the god of Norse god of war. So according to that Tuesday, that is Tuesday. Similarly, Roman god Mercury, he is associated with Norse god Odin. Odin is in Old English, Odin is pronounced as Odan. So Odan's day, which is Wednesday, which later became Wednesday. Then Jupiter, he is the Roman god of sky and thunder. Its equivalent Norse god is thunder or Thor. Uh, so Jupiter's day is Thor's day. From that it becomes Thor's day. Venus is Roman goddess of beauty, symbolizing power. From its equivalent in Norse is Norse goddess of motherhood, who is Frigg. Frigg is the wife of Odin, and from Frigg's day we have the Friday. Then Saturn is same Saturn's day, which is Saturday. So this is how the English names have come. Sunday to Saturday. This is how the English names have come from Roman names. So now that we know why there are 7 days in our history and how the names have come from history, now let us see what we don't know or what we know which is less. We should know more about this. So we start with the Vedic Navagrahas. As we have discussed up to now, the names of the weeks are associated with some planets. In the Vedic days, we also had in India or in ancient Bharatvarsha, we had uh, defined 9 planets, which are called Navagrahas, Vedic Navagrahas. Chandra, Mangala, Buddha, Guru, Shukra, Shani, Ravi, Rahu, and Ketu. So, since there are 9 planets, there has to be 9 days in the week. If you associate days with the planets, weekdays with the planets, then in ancient Bharatvarsha there had to be a week which is of 9 days. Now, we don't see a week which is of 9 days in India. Present India also, we don't see a week which is of 9 days. Why so? Next. Now, out of these 9, Rahu and Ketu, these two planets or grahas of the ancient India, these are called shadow planets. We cannot see them in naked eye. In naked eye, we can see only 7, but we cannot see the Rahu and Ketu, these two grahas or these two planets we cannot see in our naked eye. So these are not considered directly for weekday names. So accordingly, we are left with 7 grahas or 7 planets according to Vedic days, and they are associated with weekdays. So we have Sombar to Ravivar according to the name of the planets. Next. Now that we have discussed about weekdays, let us see the similarity in different languages and different places of the world. So across globe, what is the similarity? Look at this. In Odia, the first one is in Odia. Better is the second one. Shanivar, same ones. Shanivar, Shanivar, Rabbar, Ravivar, Sombar, Sombar, Mangalvar, Mangalvar, Budhavar, Budhavar, Guruvar, Guruvar, Sukravar, Sukravar. So throughout India, I think this is the same name. Then Balinese, Bali names, and Java the names, Mongolia the names, Thai names, Latin names, and English names. Everywhere we can see there are 7 days, and each day is associated to one planet. Next. So from that we draw an inference. Let us draw an inference that week is universal across the globe. Universal in the sense that it has 7 days. The names of these days are derived from planets and are associated to deities almost across the globe. Then they follow everywhere one common sequence. So everywhere Monday comes after Sunday, Saturday comes before Sunday. So this sequence is common throughout the globe. So this actually is indicating of a set commonality. So if there is this is common across the globe, what does that mean? That means that at different locations on the globe, there is no fixing of days. So every location has separate days, no separate fixing of days across the globe. Same days everywhere across the globe. That indicates that it has originated at one point in the globe, at one location, and from that location, that source, it has spread across other locations over time. So if that is so, then we have two important questions. What could be the place of origin of the weekdays? Obviously, this should be the place which gave the sequence. Wherever it has originated, then at that point also the sequence has originated. So that must be the same. Then the second question will be who could be the creator? Who means it is not the person, it is the place. Which place could be the creator? This place answer will be definitely this must be a civilization with a very rich culture. The culture which has the knowledge and use of time, and that knowledge and use of time must be defining this culture. The culture defined by knowledge and use of time. That could be the creator. Next. So the origin should have two defining characteristics. One is the existence of a solid documented logic in the culture. This should be one characteristics. Other characteristics should be this should meet some necessary conditions which justify the knowledge of time or use of time by that culture. Now let us see what are those conditions, necessary conditions. This I have derived from one of the webinars of Nilesh Oak. He proposed 5 conditions, but he did not give why these 5 conditions should be there. Let me try to say what are those 5 conditions. First is since these are associated with planets, therefore there has to be some astronomical knowledge, visual astronomical knowledge of the society or in the culture where it is originated. So there should be visual astronomical practices in that place. Second, this is days. We are considering a day, complete day. So complete day starts usually from the sunrise to sunrise. That is what is a day. Basically, that is what is a day. Visually, we can find a day or identify a day from the sunrise, not from midnight. Midnight, you cannot visually identify the starting of day. but sunrise is visually identifiable. So there should be a predictable sunrise timing, which means sunrise timing is always associated to equator. So we should have knowledge of equator in the astronomy at that place that should be there. Then a day has to be divided into 24 parts. So there should be 24 parts in the day. That we should, this will be clear when we come to this point. Then we said that deities are associated with the planets. Therefore, there should be a custom in the culture which relates deities to time, because week or the days, these are measures of time. So relating deities to time unit has to be a custom. What are time units? Like your month, day, or hour, etc. Finally, there should be a logical structuring of sequence at that place. The sequence from Sunday to Saturday, the sequence should be, there should be some logic. This place should give some logic for that. So these are five conditions, necessary conditions. I'm not saying this is sufficient, but these are necessary conditions. Five necessary conditions have to be fulfilled at the place of origin. Next. Now, which place fits into these five necessary conditions? If we look at the academic or the intellectuals, what will the answer? Obviously, it is Greek. So Greece has to be the place. Otherwise, if it is not Greece, then it has to be Babylon or Sumeria. Who else can be there? Suppose we say Bharat, ancient India. So let us see whether it is possible. Ancient India is possible. Now, many of us are aware of this book, Pioneers of Science by Sir Oliver Lodge, which was published in 1893. In this book, there is a picture for the Hindu art. In this picture, there is a tortoise. On the back of tortoise, there are four elephants in four directions. They are carrying the sky on their back. So the sky is not falling onto the back of tortoise. And the back of tortoise is flat. So he, in this book, is trying to say that the Hindu culture, that was the Indian culture, Bharat culture, in that culture, the earth was considered to be flat. That is what he tries to show in 1893. Then look at the two globes, North Hemisphere and South Hemisphere. This is also available in his same book. These are two pictures taken from the same book. Now, if you look at these hemispheres, you see that in 1893 they had no knowledge of Antarctica. So there is no Antarctica in these globes. It does not show. In 1893, even with their expeditions, they had no knowledge of Antarctica. But what about Indian culture or the Bharat culture? Much before 1893, we had the Dasavataram, in which we had the Varaha Avatara. Yeah. And in the Varaha Avatara, we are talking about the Goloka as the Prithvi, which is the earth is spherical. Next. Then comes another professor, Professor David Pingree. He is a well-known history professor, although he had science background, he had good knowledge of Sanskrit. He had spent some years in Pune to understand the Indian astrology. He is from Brown University. He is no more now. He has passed away some time back. His whole thesis, his whole research is based on trying to prove that knowledge came from Greece to India. So Bharat had no original knowledge, intellectual. Whatever knowledge is there in India, it has been imported from Greece. So from Greece, knowledge has come to India. Now look at these two maps or globes. The first one is the very ancient Greek globe. They say this shows that the Greek had a knowledge of flat earth, not a spherical earth. The second one is Sumerian, from which Babylon comes. They also show a flat earth. And the claim is knowledge has come from Greece to India. There was no original knowledge in India. Next. Now let us see the link between India and Greece. In India, God is on Mount Kailas, Lord Shiva is on Mount Kailas. In Greece, the God is on Mount Olympus. For immortality in India, we say Amrit or nectar. In Greece, they say a drink called ambrosia. In India, 7 horses pull the flaming chariot of Surya or sun across the sky. In Greece, there are 7 bulls which are pulling the golden chariot of Titan Helios. Helios is the sun god. So there is quite a bit of similarities. But the Greeks, according to the Greek astronomy, they acknowledge the Indian contribution. What are the contributions they acknowledge? Names of the weekdays, they acknowledge that names of weekdays has come from India. So it has not come from Greek to India. Then precise calculation and rotation of Earth related to specific stars, that gives you a day as 23 hours 56 minutes 4.1 second by India, which is close to the modern calculation of a day. Similarly, length of year, a sidereal year, is 365 days 6 hours 12 minutes 30 minutes. That has come from India. This is the knowledge of Greek. Zodiac signs, that has come from India. The Greece queen, Frederica, she says, "You are fortunate to inherit such knowledge." So, Indian knowledge, the Greece, they admit that Indians had original knowledge. Whereas other historians, Western historians, they say that India had no original knowledge system. Next. Now, let us look at the other civilization, which is the Babylonian civilization. So, Babylonian civilization and Indian civilization, their connection to astronomy in the early days. Look at these two things. Solar zodiac was used in Vedic India. Zodiac signs are used in Babylon. 30 divisions of lunar month is in both India and Babylon. 360 divisions of a year. This was also used in India. This is also in Babylon. Length of the year, both India and Babylon, they had knowledge of length of year. So the connection is, you can say, India, whether India borrowed knowledge from Babylon or Babylon borrowed knowledge from India. So this is has been debated by an article by Professor Subhash Kar, and he, after his debates, after in the article, he concludes that there might be restricted borrowing to most of general ideas only by Babylonians, not by Indians. Babylonians might have borrowed something from India, which is to general ideas only. But both Indians and Babylonians, their nature of astronomical methods were quite different. They used quite some completely different methods, and they have arrived at same results. This is possible. That is what Professor Kass says. He does not say that India has borrowed knowledge from Babylon or Babylon has borrowed knowledge from India. Next. Now let us look at the connection of Bharatvarsh with ancient civilization. Two ancient civilizations are the Sumeria civilization or Sumerian civilization and Babylon civilization. Sumerian civilization is older. It is 4500 to 4000 BC. This was, they ruled the Mesopotamia, and whatever evidence is existing in their little literature available now, it says that they came from the east. So the Sumerians, they came from east, also east of Mesopotamia. Also, from ancient Mesopotamian skeletal DNA, it is found that they have many similarities with their eastern counterparts. Then Babylonians, they succeeded Sumerian civilization in 2500 to 1000 BC. Now come to India. India or Bharat is the east of Iraq. Iraq is Mesopotamia. So it is on the east of Iraq, so east of Sumeria or Babylonia. Now their connection, let us see the connection in Mahabharata. If you read Mahabharata, Sanskrit Mahabharata, original Mahabharata, there it says that Arjun during Ashwamedha Yajna had gone to the west to meet Bhagadatta in the Pragjyotispur. Also in Ramayana, Pragjyotispur is described when Sugriv tells his Vanarsena to go to four different directions. So he says that on the west you have to go up to Pragjyotispur. So Indians had knowledge of Iraq or Sumeria or Babylon of the modern times. This you can get from the research of Henry Hall, one of the prominent historians. Now, with this knowledge of the ancient civilizations, their linkage, let us come back to the Uddaj. So let us take India as the center, Bharat as the center. We will consider its east side and west side. Start with the eastward pattern. So we have the Vedic deities, Shani, Ravi, Chandra, Mangala, Buddha, Guru and Shukra. Then the Vedic days accordingly. And then these days are translated to the days in the eastern side of India. Bali, you can see Shani. Shanivar is Bali called Shaniskar. Then Mongolian, which is astonishing, Sanchi. So that is Shanivar. Thao is Wansao. So if you look at the names on the eastern side of India, they are very much similar to the names in the Indian side. Like this Reddit, Reddit, or Redditya, or Adya, or Atita. So all these are connected to son. So from Rabi or other names of son, these are derived. Aditya, so from those, these names are derived. So all these names are similar to the Indian names. So maybe India had influence or it has gone from India. Next. Now the link to the West. So this is a conjecture, one of the conjectures, that Vedic deities, from Vedic deities, they were related to Greek deities. Greeks related those deities according to their own gods' names. Then those deities were related to, translated to Roman deities. Accordingly, Romans had Roman Latin weekdays. Those were related to uh, German deities. German deities were related to Anglo-Saxons, which were ultimately converted to English deities. So this way we can have a conjecture that from India the days have gone to the west. It has gone to the east and it has gone to the west. This is a conjecture. Then let us try to put this next. This is the same one which shows how it has traveled from India to United Kingdom. So route shows it is a geographical illustration. Otherwise, it is the same from India, Vedic culture to Greek culture to Roman culture to Germanic interpretations, then Anglo-Saxons and English. Now, let us come back to the five conditions that we uh, have said that must be satisfied by the place from where the weekdays originated. So let us start with the first condition, the presence of visual astronomy practices. Now, this was the visual astronomy practices were there in Babylon, so there is no question about this. They were also present in Greece, there is no question about this. These two I accept. Now come to India, Bharatvarsh. This picture, if you look at this picture, connect the center of the earth to the center of the sun, one straight line, draw a perpendicular to that straight line through the center of the earth dividing the globe into two equal parts. Then the North Pole and South Pole, the axis of North Pole and South Pole, that makes an angle with this line. That angle is called the tilt angle, which varies between 23 degree to 24 degree. Currently, it is 23.4 degrees. Now, 23 to 24, then 24 back to 23. This complete cycle is called tilt cycle. It takes 41,000 years. Even modern science, we accept this. Not only this, the polar cycle, polar axis of Earth that rotates around this vertical axis with that precises. So this precision angle or precision cycle, axial precision cycle, is about 26,000 years. To be precise, it is 25,771.5 years. Modern astronomy, those who are in astronomy or astrophysics, they have calculated this. These are calculated from using softwares. Now, whether this knowledge was there, if that something like this is happening, whether this knowledge was there in the ancient civilizations, if this knowledge was there, then that civilization had an advanced astronomical knowledge. Next. Look at the same picture here. You can see around the North Pole, there is a pole star. Around the South Pole, also there is a pole star. Along the North Pole, the pole star is called Abhijit, now we call it Dhruva. Around the South Pole, the pole star is Agastya. Now, this appearance of pole star, two pole stars, now we see only one pole star, the Dhruva pole star or the Vega. But this appearance of two pole stars is described in Ramayana. And if you use astronomical calculations, which means astrophysics, using astrophysics softwares, we can find out that this occurred, two pole stars, they occurred around 12,000 BCE. So Ramayana is as old as 12,000 BCE. And Ramayana, you will find many references to the astronomical phenomena. In Ramayana and in Mahabharata, in both the epics, we will find many references to astronomical phenomena. And both these books, they used something called Surya Siddhanta. Surya Siddhanta is an is a pocket book of astronomy. From ancient India, it was written by Mayasur. Mayasur has written Surya Siddhanta, but it contains ancient trigonometry, um, then functions, different functions, trigonometric functions, and some amount of calculus, which means how old is Surya Siddhanta. From that we can find out how old is Surya Siddhanta. Surya Siddhanta has complicated knowledge of trigonometry. So both Surya Siddhanta and Ramayana, Valmiki Ramayana, both of them say about two pole stars. So both of them are old at least by 12,000 BC. So 12,000 BC year old is their existence. It has come to existence at 12,000 BC. Similarly, there are other scriptures like Maitrayana Upanishad. It specifies the changing conditions of sky and relates it to changing ground conditions. So that is about 34,000 BCE. So astronomical dates in India, if you look at this from the ancient Bharatiya texts, the nakshatra longitudes are given there. So longitudes of nakshatras are given. That is around 580 CE. Because of that, people say that Surya Siddhanta is 580 CE is the date of Surya Siddhanta written is 580 CE. Actually, that is the correction, last correction made to Surya Siddhanta. Before that, in the Surya Siddhanta, the obliquity of Earth's axis is given, which is 1900 BC. So if you look at this, the last one is the latitude of Agastya or Canopus, that is in 38,000 BC. So these are the dates or years in which Surya Siddhanta was updated. Give me a minute, let me take some water. So this says how old is astronomy in India and complex astronomy, not only astronomy, complex astronomy was in India. This says about this. So without contradicting the astronomical contributions of Greece or Babylon. Next. Um, Now let us look at what Surya Siddhanta says. It says, I am not reading the Sanskrit shloka, I am just translating it in the Surya Siddhanta 12.53 of 53th shloka of the 12th chapter. So it says that everywhere upon the globe of the earth, men think their own place to be uppermost. But since it is a globe in the ether, where should there be an upper or where should there be a underside of it? Which means in those days they knew about the earth as a globe, and around earth there is a celestial globe. They had knowledge of to have a celestial globe or knowledge of globe or celestial globe, one must have knowledge of longitude and latitude. So you imagine it is like this. The earth has longitude and latitude and expand these in 360 degrees everywhere in all directions. Expand the longitudes and latitudes to cover the universe. That gives you the celestial globe. So if you are on the celestial globe, you are looking at the earth. One is looking at the earth, then there is no point which is upper or there is no point which is lower. From the celestial globe, it is same everywhere. So this is what they said in Surya Siddhanta says, which means people had knowledge of two globes, celestial globe as well as the normal globe. Next. Then let us see two numbers, very peculiar numbers, 3438 and 60. These are two models. One model is by Ptolemy for the two astronomical model, other is an astronomical model used by Indian astronomers. Ptolemy uses a number 60, which is used in a complicated manner, complex manner to calculate, to do the calculations, find out the radius of globe, find out the radius of other astronomical bodies, etc. Similarly, on the Indian side, we have used a model, they used a model in which they use a peculiar number 3438. Now 60 is an empirical number. What about 3438? See, the Greek model is about 1,000 years younger than the Indian model. Indian model uses geometry, uses geometrical formulations, and also mathematical formulations. How you can say that from the number 343? We know 1 nautical mile is defined as 1 minute of latitude. 1 minute of latitude is 1/60th of a degree of latitude. That is 1 minute of latitude. Now find out what is the circumference of Earth. See. So this will be 60 into 360. 60 into 360 or latitude. So 60 into 360. So 60 minutes into 360. So which is 21,600 nautical miles. That is the circumference of Earth. Now what is the radius of Earth? Circumference of Earth by 2 pi. So 21600, 21,600 by 2 pi. So if you do that, do the calculation, that will give you 3437.74677, which is approximately 3438. So it gives the radius of Earth in nautical miles. 3438 gives the radius of Earth in nautical miles. So it shows the superiority of Indian model. Next. Then in India, you also know this, we have discussed earlier. In Aryabhatiya, in Gitikapada, the 12 sloka goes like this: Maki, Vaki, Faki, etc. So if you look at this, these are not Sanskrit words. They are describing, these are actually alphanumeric values. So Maki, Vaki, etc. They are describing the sign table. So they had the idea of sign in those days. That was used in astronomy. So this shows how complicated was the knowledge of astronomy in ancient India. Next. So from that, what we can say, conclude about the first point: India had complicated knowledge of astronomy, and astronomical knowledge was there in India, no doubt about this. Greece, they had some knowledge of astronomy. Babylon also had some knowledge of astronomy. They are not related to each other, these are independent upon each other. Then let us look at the second one: predictable sunrise timing. Next. Which means we should have a knowledge of equator. So for sunrise time, stable sunrise time, we should have the knowledge of equator. And if we are not on the equator, we are somewhere else from the equator, then we should do the measurement from the equator to know that we should have knowledge of equator. Now in the Aryabhatiya, Golapada, the 9th, 10th, and 13th, and 14th, all these shlokas, they say about Lanka. Lanka means Ravana's Lanka, where the latitude and longitude, 0 degree latitude and 0 degree longitude. So in those astronomical days, they had this point. So that is the point from where they assume the sunrise. So sunrise starts from that point. Then it sunrises at other points. So that was their knowledge. So they had a knowledge of equator in the ancient India. Next. And we don't know about Greece. Greece, there is no evidence. Babylon, celestial equator, in the night, they had a bright star. They were looking at a bright star. So that is where they fixed the 0 degree latitude and 0 degree longitude to that bright star. When that occurs, they say that the day has changed. So Babylon had some knowledge of equator. Bharat had complete knowledge. Greece had no knowledge. Next. Then division of day into 24 parts. This is important because many people say, even in history, that a muhurta in Indian scriptures is 48 minutes. So a day, which is 24 hours, a day has to be 30 muhurtas. 48 minutes into 30. So that is 30 muhurtas gives you 24 hours. So day is divided into 30 divisions, 30 equal divisions in ancient India. So that is only one way of looking at this. Because when you say one yuga, some people say it to be 12 years, some people say it to be 999 years. There are different definitions for same thing. For when you say one yojana, the distance, so at different places it has different definitions. Similarly, in our own village, my ancestor village, when you count coconuts, we say one koda. One koda of coconut means one coconut. But if you are not, the context changes, not to coconut or any other thing, one koda means four numbers. So with context also the number used to be changed, the units used to be changed. So similarly, in Indian scriptures, there are different scriptures on different for different context. There are different units of time. The Bhagavata Purana, in the third skanda, 11th chapter, I am giving the extract from Sloka 1 to Sloka 4. Between Sloka 5 to Sloka 8, the 5 starts with Ayurdava Paramanu Shastra Sarenyasya Smrutaha. And the eighth one ends with Te Dabe Murtaha Prahara Saryana Saptava Nurnam. Its meaning is written below. The eighth sloka is 15 Shastras make one lagu. 15 lagu are said to constitute one nadika. Two nadikas make one murta, like this. So this I have made it in a table. You can see the table. So this is the division of time. How small is it? One paramanu, which is 0.0000315 seconds. That is the smallest measure of the time. We don't know why they needed this small amount of time for what calculation, astronomical calculation, but this small was there, small amount of time was there. From that it comes to one nadika, which is 30 minutes. 15 lagos constitute one nadika. Then from nadika we go to prahara, and from prahara we go to 8 praharas, which is ahoratra. Ahoratra means day. Aho means day. Ratra means night. So day and night. So one day, complete day, 24 hours. That is 24 hours. So this says that 24 hours, a day is of 24 hours or 24 equal parts. The division of day into 24 equal parts is given here. Now look at the term Ahoratra. Aho is, if I take a sandhi of that, from Aho I take Ho, from Ratra I take Ra, that gives Hora. This was given by Aryabhatta. So he described this. Now Hora is the is a word in Greek which means hour in English. So hour in English has its origin with Ohratra. Now, with this, we know that Indians also had 24 divisions of a day. Whether it is similarly, Babylon and Greece, they also used to have 24 divisions of day. So this one, all three qualify. Next. Next one is cultural custom of relating deities to time units. Whether it was available in India, deities in Indian culture were associated with time or otherwise they were associated to many things. In time, for example, Nakshatra is an example of unit of time. For timekeeping, you use Nakshatra. So there are 27 nakshatras in Narada Purana, and each nakshatra is associated with a deity. Like Ashwini nakshatra is Ashwinas, Dasrau, Megha nakshatra is Pitras, Mula nakshatra is Nirti. So these are the deities of different nakshatras. So 27 deities are associated to 27 nakshatras. What about other uh, times, other units like tithis or years? For years, deities are associated like Samvaschara, Parivaschara, to Samvaschara Agni, Parivaschara Aditya or Surya, etc. Similarly, for Tithis, also deities are associated Sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn, and Rahu. So these are associated with Tithis. So India had a culture of associating deities with uh, planets or time, etc. Others, they had the culture of associating deities with planets. With time, it is not clear. So, since this is not very clear, let us say they partially had the knowledge. India had full knowledge. In Bharat, we had full knowledge. Next. Then finally, we'll come to the logical structuring of the sequence. How after Sunday, Monday comes, after Monday, Tuesday comes. Let us see that sequence structuring. I remember Sir Oliver Lodge in 1893. In his book, there was a model for how to sequence the weekdays. And this says that take a day, like arrange the names of the corresponding planets in this manner, starting from Saturn to Moon, from slowest moving planet to the fastest moving planet, arrange them in this manner. Then start with Saturn, skip to then the next one is the after you skip to whatever planet comes, it is the next planet. So after Saturday, Sunday, then skip to, so then it will be Monday. Skip to, so then it will be Tuesday. So this is how it has to happen. He gave this formula, but there is no logic associated with this, no science associated with this. He just gave this formula and this has been accepted. Now let us see what Aryabhatta says. Aryabhatta was in 476 to 550 CE. So at least 1000 years before Sir Oliver Lodge, Aryabhatta had given this, which says, in this sloka, I am not reading in this sloka, just see two things which I have highlighted, two words. One is Varesa. Hora plus Iso is Varesa. So Iso means the Lord or the deity of the hour. Hora is our deity of the hour. That is Varesa. Sanes Charayo, which means starting with Saturday. Yatakrama means go from Saturday to others. So he says that arrange the planets in this manner, starting with Saturday, arrange the planets in the manner of their revolution around Earth, the time of revolution of around Earth. So that manner, if you give them, arrange them, this is Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, Sun, Venus, Mercury, Moon. Then associate the days accordingly. Then for the first, start with Saturday, then go to the fourth one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, which will be the Sunday. Then go to the next fourth one. So that there you set it, 4 is resetted to 1, then go to 4, then again reset 4 to 1. So if you go this way, you will get the sequence of the weekdays. This is says. How he has given this algorithm, that we'll see in the next one. Now, if you look at this, from this algorithm, you can easily see that you start with Saturday, skip to, then you get the next day, which was given by Sir Oliver Lodge. So the logic or the algorithm is given by Aryabhatta at least 1000 years before Sir Oliver Lodge. Next. Then in Surya Siddhanta, in Gogoladhyaya 78th shloka, it says, starting from Saturn downward, the fourth graha is called the Lord of the Day. Lord of the Day is Varesa. Then the graha starting from the Saturn successively downward are the Lord of the hour. So Saturn is first the Lord of the day, then all other Saturn. Then if you look at this, how fast they move, this table gives the rotation period. So Moon is the fastest, Saturn is the slowest. Now, next, let us see what this means. So the order is explained in Surya Siddhanta. First, you arrange the planets, associate the day to the planet, arrange them in this order that the slowest planet is the first one, so that is the Saturn, and the fastest planet is the Moon, which is the last one. Now, the first hour, then write 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 24, go up to 24. So we started with 1, 2, 3, 4. 24 ends at Mars. This is in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So fifth row and 1, 2, fifth column, fifth row is 24 hours. So then, these are called the Lord of each hora. In the hora is the Lord of that hour. So hour 1 Lord is Saturn. Hour 2 Lord is Jupiter. Hour 3 Lord is Mars. So that way we will continue till we reach 24. Then we will reset. Then hour 1. After 24, because why 24? 24 is because we divide the day into 24 parts. That is why go after 24, then reset it. When you reset, it will start at 1. So then 1, the Horesa will be Dinapati. So first is the 1 is representing the Dinapati and the hour, the Lord of the hour and Lord of the day. So 1 is Saturn, that is Lord of the day. So the date is the day is Shanivar. Then next 1 is for Sun. So Lord is that becomes the Lord of the day. So then find out the next Lord of the day, that is Moon. After 24, it will be again reset to 1. So that will be Moon. So this way you find out the Lord of the day in the sequence. That sequence gives you the sequence of the week. So from this, Aryabhatta has derived his algorithm. So there is a consistent logic in the Indian mythology or Indian astronomy. Now, let us see what the Western astronomy says. It says that from 0 to 24, 23, so 24 hours, write it in one column, and then start with Saturn at 0, then Jupiter, same principle. Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, Sun, Venus, Mercury, and Moon. Then you repeat that Saturn, Jupiter, So that way it is to be repeated. Repeat this. Whichever planet comes at zero, and that is the day. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So the top one shows you the day. This was elaborated by the historian Dio Cassius, a third century historian. Now you compare Surya Siddhanta is at least 860 BC and Dio Cassio is third century. So it is possible that Dio Cassio has got it from Surya Siddhanta or knowledge of Surya Siddhanta has traveled to the West. That is possible. I'm not saying that he has taken it, but the similarity is too similar to be ignored. Next. So now about the logic, Greece, there is no logic. Babylon, we can see this Cassius, if that he explained this, so the Babylonian logic, maybe this is true. So we can take it to be somewhat correct. Indian logic we have seen. Next. So now let us make the concluding remarks. Now, once this is known that the week was known to India, the in ancient Bharat, then the question is in the ancient Bharat scriptures, why there are no mention of the weekdays, Sunday, Monday, or Sombar, Mangalbar, etc., are not available in these ancient Indian texts. What can be the reason? First, let me show you that in Ramayana there is a mention of Guru Pushya Yoga. When Rama is going to be coronated as the king, everything is fixed. Then, and after that, he knows that he has to go to the forest. At that time, he was slightly sad. Seeing him, Sita says, "Why are you sad? We have the Pushya Yoga with Brihaspati. Brihaspati means Guru. So we have the Guru Pushya Yoga. So Guru Pushya Yoga means Pushya is the nakshatra, Brihaspati the Guru Bara. So Guru Bar plus in the Pushya nakshatra, that is very auspicious. So your coronation is going to happen in an auspicious day. Why are you sad? So this is Guru Pushya Yoga means we have this. They have used this Brihaspati Bar in Ramayana, but not at many places. Why that I will say you later. Next. In Mahabharata also they use the word Divasanang in the Santi Parva. Divasa word is used. Now let me tell you why they are not using this Sunday, Monday, etc. Now today, if you say that we had this webinar on Thursday, that will not leave the timestamp. You have to say on Thursday in 2023 in September, and you have to give the date. Then only, or 28th September, then only you will give the complete timestamp. So in ancient India, to give the complete timestamp, they used to give the astronomical positions of different planets. So that gives the complete timestamp. So there you get the time. Concrete time you get from astronomical positions, not from the Sunday or Monday. If you say that way, it will not give you the complete timestamp. Similarly, if you give the positions, astronomical positions, wherever on the earth, on the globe, you can find out where you are, what is the date at that place. If you say Sombar or Mangalbar, Sunday, Monday, etc., you will not get that. So maybe this was the reason why they have used always these astronomical features occurring in the sky to timestamp in their scriptures. Next. So finally, you have to think about this. I had given 5 conditions. Visual astronomy, India has it. Greece maybe, Babylon maybe, or to some extent they have it. Sunrise time, India complete. Greece, there was no evidence. Babylon, there may be something. 24 divisions of day, all three. Deities related to time units, India is there. Greece and Babylon to some extent. Logical structuring, India is there. Babylon, we don't know whether it is borrowed or it is there, but something is there. Greece, it is not there. So from that, maybe we can conclude that both India and Babylon might be the source of the weekdays. They are independent upon each other. India has a higher probability than Babylon. With that, I got inspirations from Sangam Talks, Nireso, Google, and YouTube. I got some information. Next. Finally, let me thank you for your patience, for being with me for such a long time. So, if you have any comments, I welcome your comments. Or if you have questions, I will try to address questions. Then we'll start.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Mishra. My name is Byomjit Mishra. Uh, Dr. Mishra, I'm really grateful to you that you enlightened us with such a great knowledge today. Um, uh, I'm not as educated as all of you are. Um, that's why I have a couple of questions. I may sound very stupid, very dumb, but I still will ask them. The hora that you spoke about, does it have anything to do with the hora chart that the astrologers do?
Yes, yes, hora is related to the hour, time unit of time, 1 hour. So the
Okay, so
horoscope, so that comes from that. Gotcha.
okay, and there is another question, and that's coming to my mind. Um, in the chart where you said about the our Lord, the day Lord and the Hora Lord. I mean the Hora,
Right.
the day and the our Lord.
Hmm.
There is the time fixed at 5:30 a.m. or is it
No, no,
as
no.
per the sunrise hour?
As for the sunrise hour, that is as for the
Okay,
sunrise hour.
okay,
Usually, sunrise occurs between 5 to 6 o'clock, so I have taken average at 5:30.
okay, okay. Thank you, Dr. Mishra. Thanks a lot.
Thank you,
Thank
Vaina.
you.
Thank
Pranam,
you.
pranam.
I
Mr.
got a comment.
No comment, Mr.
Yes, Devatos.
Yeah, I was listening and you actually collected and tried to digest all this information within you. And that's how you
I,
could tell.
I have so much time.
But
From 2018, I have so much time at my hand. So,
I sincerely appreciate your huge efforts and try to understand and again to illuminate us with your all new information. Many doubts you already have. You already expressed that you have some doubts and all these things.
right, right.
So actually, what's your feeling that
Uh,
the
but
concept came from single source or multiple sources?
multiple source concept came from multiple source, and
Yeah.
the problem is we have lost our literature. The Indian literature, having a grasp on the Indian literature, complete grasp on
It
the
means,
Indian
you
literature,
mean some documentation, right?
documentations, yes. So there are gaps which you cannot fill now because those are lost. You cannot fill those gaps. So there has to be doubts. That is why there are doubts. There are many gaps. Most of the documents are lost. Like I told about Aryabhatta. Aryabhatta had written 3 treatises. Aryabhatta is available to some extent. Other 2 treatises are completely lost. So what he is saying in Aryabhatta, they are related to other 2 treatises. That part is lost. Similarly, Surya Siddhanta, it was last updated in 860. So after that, since we don't know how to update it, it is almost not working. So there are many places where there are gaps now, because our knowledge system has completely changed. Now what we know is not what we knew earlier. But there is no link. Even people
Yes,
with
it is not
deep
100
knowledge,
years, few thousands years history.
thousands of years, yes,
That's
that
true.
is lost.
Excellent. So I have no more comment.
Thank you. Rahu and Ketu, Chinmaya. Here question is Rahu and Ketu. So those are
Yeah,
shadow
it is
planets.
kind of our equivalent circuit, right?
Right, right. Rahu and Ketu are shadow knowledges. They are not in shadow. Like you have your shadow. When you are moving, there is light, you have your shadow. The
And they're
shadow is not you,
exactly 180-degree out of phase.
out of phase. Right. So Rahu and Ketu are shadow. The similar way, Rahu and Ketu.
That's true. Anyway, so some other attendees might have some question for you.
Sauchar was saying something.
Dr. Mishra, I have a comment. It's
Yes, sir.
a very nice talk, and actually everything is new to me.
So
I
this is
didn't know
what we
earlier.
feel also. Yes.
I have one comment.
Sir.
In the year, we have 360 days, and normally we have 365 days.
365 days, yes.
Where does this discrepancy came?
Okay. So that actually is in Indian astronomy. We follow 2 calendars simultaneously. Our calendar is lunisolar calendar. It is lunar as well as it is solar. If you look at the solar calendar, it is
Uh,
around 365 days. If you look at the lunar calendar, you get 360 days, almost 360 days. So there comes the difference. And the astronomy, they adjust these days. Whatever time is left, that they adjust this. That is why you get Joda Sravana in Odisha, Malamasa in Odisha. These
yeah.
are
So
adjusted there.
365 days are there in our days in our
Yes,
country.
364 days, 23 hours, about 6 minutes, 6.1 minutes, something like that. It was in Surya Siddhanta. It is available.
I,
They had that
one more
knowledge.
thing, it may be peculiar, but I will tell you.
Sir.
You see, when we astrology, we say that the effect of Saturn or Moon or like this,
Sir.
but Earth is also a planet. Why
Yes.
don't you consider the effect of Earth on us?
Earth is
You see,
a.
in quantum mechanics,
Hmm.
we say expectation psi star A psi beta. A the operator, when it is intra, the same state, we say the expectation. I mean eigenvalue, but when it interstate, suppose psi 1, A, psi 2, then it is interaction of one planet with other.
Hmm.
We consider the effect of other planets on us. Why not consider Earth on Earth?
That I don't know, because what you are saying in communication, we
I'm
say
just, it came to my mind
cross
while
correlation,
hearing your talk
cross
that
correlation, correlation.
why you should not consider those things.
In communication, we say cross correlation, correlation. So correlation is same. Co-correlation is the correlation with yourself itself. But I don't know, because they are taking, maybe because they have taken Earth as the reference and its
Uh-huh.
effects of others on
So its
the
effect on Earth.
that they have considered. They have not considered effect of Earth on itself. Correlations they have not considered. Cross
Yeah,
correlations.
always they consider the interact and one to other.
Yes.
What about sun or other position of all the planets respective to Earth?
Right. That they have
But
considered.
when people in Barampur or people in Calcutta or people in USA, the effect is different
Yes, because
depending upon the place of this, person.
no, that is what I said. Na, latitude, longitude are different longitudes. Effects will be different. At different latitudes, effects will be different. That is why they have calculated those things also. Maybe you can take that as the answer.
Yeah, I'm thinking it is just like self energy.
Right.
Interaction energy, when you consider the same aspect in the same state.
Hmm. So maybe that is the
Okay, thank you.
yes. Sukumar, yes. Sukumar Pula.
Mr.
Yes.
I'm taking leave
Yes,
because
yes, yes,
yeah,
yes,
I have
yes.
another thing to do.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll talk later.
Yes, sure.
Bye.
Bye bye. Good night.
Good night.
ସାର୍
ପଳେଇଲା ମୋର
ସାର୍ ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ସେଲିଷ୍ଟିଆଲ ଗ୍ଲୋବ ର କ'ଣ ଆମର ଇଣ୍ଡିଆନ୍ସ ମାନଙ୍କ ନଲେଜ ନଥିଲା ଆଗରୁ?
Celestial globe କହିଲି ପରା ଆମରି knowledge ଥିଲା ସୂର୍ଯ୍ୟ ସିଦ୍ଧାନ୍ତର
ହଁ
ଫାଷ୍ଟ କ'ଣ ଦେଖେଇଲି celestial globe ର
ଆଚ୍ଛା
knowledge is available in India ସେଠୁ ଯାଇଛି ଆମେ ଆଡ଼ିଛି
ଆଚ୍ଛା ଆଚ୍ଛା ବେବିଲୋନ ମାନେ ଆମଠୁ ତାଠୁ ଫଲୋ କରୁଛନ୍ତି।
ହଁ
ସାର୍ ସାର୍
Sir, just to like uniquely identify a time, we don't need weeks at all, isn't it?
yes
Yeah, but then why did this thought process that week is required like came up?
oh this is quantization of time quantifying time that is why they have come up with this
Because
so
even if we didn't had a week of like concept itself, we would have still like would have been like able to identify time and those things we could be like it's possible.
no in short term when you are in short term there it is not possible for a general person to find out what is the graha, what is the nakshatra position and identify the time. So that way you require the week. But you cannot put timestamp using week. That is how it has come.
No, what I feel is maybe because the number systems came much later than actually this nomenclature. Like when the ancient people would be referring, saying, "Okay, tomorrow you have to do something." So they need something to say, like whether they have to say, "Okay, this day, third day, fourth day," like that. Maybe because of that.
No, number system came earlier than the astronomy. First number system came, then astronomy came. In Indian system, first this decimal number came, then the
Okay.
astronomy came. So without knowing a number system, we cannot do astronomy. At least Indian astronomy. So decimal number system has come earlier.
Okay. It's very, very nice collection, and then like a very good logic to put that as Indians. It would have started from Indians.
It might
Thank
have.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
But seven seems to be a very magic number for at least in many cases. Like
Yes,
seven.
yes, yes. Many cases, ancient civilization, 7 was a magic number.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gopal. हाँ रंजू yes देख लो आगे क्वेश्चन हाँ Rajesh ask your question what you want to know
Yes, sir. Sir, good evening, sir.
good evening Rajesh
Sir, ମୋର ଗୋଟେ କ୍ୱେଶ୍ଚିନ୍ ହେଲା କି ସାର୍ ଯେହେତୁ ଆମେ ଗୋଟେ ହ୍ୟୁମାନ୍ ବିଙ୍ଗ ଆମେ ଅର୍ଥରେ ରହିଲା ମାନେ ଆମେ ସ୍ୟାଡୋ ଆମର ଦେଖିପାରିବା କିନ୍ତୁ ଗୋଟେ ପର୍ଟିକୁଲାର ଡେ ଯେମିତି କି ଏଇ ବର୍ଷ ପଡିଥିଲା 18th of August, କିନ୍ତୁ ସେଇଦିନ କୁ କଣ ପାଇଁ ଆମେ नो shadow day ବୋଲି ଆମେ କହିଲେ ଆମେ ଆଉ ସେଦିନ ଆମ ନିଜର shadow ଦେଖି ପାରୁନାହିଁ?
ନାଇଁ ସେମିତି ତମେ ଦେଖିଛ? ଆର୍ ୟୁ ସିଓର ଯେ ୟୁ କ୍ୟାନଟ୍ ସି ୟୁର shadow? I am not very sure.
Yes sir, experimentally I was proved that ସେଇ particular ଦିନ shadow ଆସୁନଥିଲା।
No, I
ଆଉ
don't.
ସାର୍ ଗୋଟେ ମାଇଥୋଲୋଜିକାଲ କ୍ୱେଶ୍ଚିନ୍ ବି ଅଛି ମୋର। ଆମେ ତ ସାର୍ ସବୁଦିନେ ଆମ ନିଜର shadow ଦେଖିପାରୁଛେ ମାନେ at anywhere in the world, anywhere in the earth, but particularly inside ପୁରୀ ଜଗନ୍ନାଥ ଟେମ୍ପଲ ଆମେ କାହିଁକି ଆମର shadow କେବେ ବି ଦେଖି ପାରୁନେ?
ସେଇଟା ଆନ୍ସର ଆକ୍ଚୁଆଲି ମୋ ପାଖରେ ନାହିଁ। ତାର ଆନ୍ସର ଅଛି ମାଦଳାପାଞ୍ଜିରେ। ଆଇ ହାଭ୍ ନଟ୍ ରେଡ୍ ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍। ମାଦଳାପାଞ୍ଜିରେ ତା ଆନ୍ସର ଅଛି। କାହିଁକି shadow ଦେଖିବନି? ସେଟା ଜଗନ୍ନାଥ କାହାକୁ ବର ଦେଇଥିଲେ ଯେ ତମର shadow ଏଠି ଦେଖାଯିବନି। shadow-ଟା ହଉଛି ଆମର ଇଏରେ ଯମର ଫଲ, ଯମ ତମକୁ ଫଲୋ କରୁଛି। ମାଇଥୋଲୋଜିରେ ଯମ ଫଲୋ କରୁଛି shadow। ତମ ଯମଠୁ ମୁକ୍ତ ସେଠି ଥିଲାବେଳେ ଏଇଭଳିଆ ଗୋଟେ କିଛି ଅଛି। ବଟ୍ ଇଟ୍ ଇଜ୍ ଇନ୍ ମାଦଳାପାଞ୍ଜି। ମୁଁ ଆଇ ଡୋଣ୍ଟ ନୋ ଏକ୍ଜାକ୍ଟ ଜିନିଷଟା ମୁଁ ଜାଣିନି। ଏଇଭଳି ସମଥିଙ୍ଗ ଲାଇକ୍ ଦିସ୍ ବହୁତ ପିଲାବେଳେ ଶୁଣିଥିଲି। ରଞ୍ଜୁ,
ଥ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ୟୁ ସାର୍।
ରଞ୍ଜୁ
ହୁଁ
ହଁ କହ।
ଆଚ୍ଛା, ଯୋଉ ରାହୁ କେତୁଙ୍କ ବିଷୟରେ କହିଲୁ
ହଁ
shadow ବୋଲିଛନ୍ତି,
ହଁ
ତାଙ୍କର ଇମ୍ପୋର୍ଟାନ୍ସ କିଛି ନାହିଁ?
ଇମ୍ପୋର୍ଟାନ୍ସ ଅଛି, ତାଙ୍କର ଇଫେକ୍ଟ ଅଛି ପରା। ଆମର ଆଷ୍ଟ୍ରୋନୋମିକାଲ କ୍ୟାଲକୁଲେସନରେ
ସେଇ କଥା କହୁଛି। ସେଥିରେ ସିନା ତମର ଗ୍ରହ ମାନଙ୍କ ଭିତରେ ତାଙ୍କ shadow କୁହାଗଲା, କିନ୍ତୁ ଗୋଟେ କୁଣ୍ଡଳୀ ଭିତରେ ତାଙ୍କର ପ୍ଲେସମେଣ୍ଟ ବି ରହୁଛି। ଗୋଟେ ଜନ୍ମ କୁଣ୍ଡଳୀ ତିଆରି ହଉଛି, ସେଠି ରହୁଛି।
ସେଥିଲାଗି କହିଲି ପରା ଯୋଉ ଇଏ କଣ କହିଲି ରାଶି କଥା କହିଲିନି କି? ରାଶିରେ ସେମାନେ ରାଶି ଚକ୍ରରେ ରାହୁ କେତୁଙ୍କ କଥା ରହିବ, ସେଠି ମନା କରାହବନି। 7 ଦିନ ପାଇଁକା ଯେହେତୁ ସେମାନେ shadow ଗ୍ରହ, ଆଖିକି ଦେଖା ଯାଉନାହାନ୍ତି, ଖାଲି ଆଖିକି ଦେଖା ଯାଉନାହାନ୍ତି, ତେଣୁ ତାଙ୍କୁ କନସିଡର କରାହେଇନି। ଯୋଉ ଗ୍ରହ ଗୁଡାକ ଖାଲି ଆଖିକି ଦେଖା ଯାଉଛନ୍ତି ପୃଥିବୀ ପୃଷ୍ଠରୁ, ସେଇମାନଙ୍କୁ କନସିଡର କରାଯାଉଛି।
ମାନେ ମୁଁ ଯେତିକି ଦେଖୁଥିଲି ଏଥିରେ ଯେ ନବଗ୍ରହ ଆମର ପୂଜା ହଉଛନ୍ତି। ଜଗନ୍ନାଥ ମନ୍ଦିରରେ ଅଛନ୍ତି ନବଗ୍ରହ। ନବଗ୍ରହ ଭିତରେ ରାହୁ କେତୁ ବି ରହିଛନ୍ତି। ଠିକ ଅଛି। କିନ୍ତୁ ଏଠି shadow କହୁଛେ, ଏବଂ ଯୋଉ 7 days କୁହାହେଲା, ସେମାନେ କଣ କରୁଛନ୍ତି? ଯେହେତୁ ରାହୁ କେତୁକୁ ସେମାନେ ରାକ୍ଷସ ଇଏରେ ଯୋଉ ଅମୃତ ଚୋରରେ
ଗ୍ରହ ବୋଲି କରିଦେଲା ପରେ ଆଉ ରାକ୍ଷସ କଣ? ଦେବତା ହେଇଗଲେ ପରା। ଅମୃତ ପାନ କରିକି ଦେବ ହେଇଗଲେ।
ଯେହେତୁ ଅମୃତ ପାନ କଲେ, ସେତୁ ତମେ ତାଙ୍କୁ କହିଲେ ଦେବତା ହିସାବରେ, କିନ୍ତୁ
ପ୍ରଭୃତି ଥିଲା, ଆଉ ରାକ୍ଷସ ପ୍ରଭୃତି ନାହିଁ। ବିଷ୍ଣୁଙ୍କ ହାତରେ, ବିଷ୍ଣୁ ଯାହାକୁ ସୁଦର୍ଶନ ଚକ୍ରରେ ଛେଦ କଲେ, ସିଏ ରାକ୍ଷସ ଯୋନିରୁ ମୁକ୍ତି ପାଇଗଲା। ସେଥିଲାଗି ବିଷ୍ଣୁଙ୍କ ହାତରେ ରାକ୍ଷସମାନେ ମରିବାକୁ
ଏଥିରେ
ଚାହାନ୍ତି।
ଲେଖା ହଉଥିଲା, ତେଣୁକରି ଦେବତା ମାନଙ୍କ ନାଁରେ 7 ଦିନ ଯାକ ନାମକରଣ ହେଇଛି। ସେଥିପାଇଁ ତେଣୁକରି ଆକ୍ଚୁଆଲି ୟୁନିଭର୍ସାଲ ଆଉ କୋଉଠି କଣ ଲେଖା ହେଇଛି?
ଆମର ଇଏ ହଉଛି ଯେ ଏଇଟା, ଯେହେତୁ ତାକୁ ଦେଖି ପାରୁନାହାନ୍ତି। ମୁଁ କହୁଛି ଆଷ୍ଟ୍ରୋନୋମି, ନଟ୍ ଆଷ୍ଟ୍ରୋଲୋଜି। ମୁଁ ଆଷ୍ଟ୍ରୋନୋମିରୁ କହୁଛି। ଆଷ୍ଟ୍ରୋନୋମିରେ
ଆଷ୍ଟ୍ରୋଲୋଜି ଅଲଗା ହେଇଯାଇଛି।
ଅଲଗା ଜିନିଷ। ଆଷ୍ଟ୍ରୋନୋମିରେ ଯୋଉ ଗ୍ରହ ଆମକୁ ଦେଖା ଯାଉଛନ୍ତି ଖାଲି ଆଖିରେ, ସେଇ ଗ୍ରହକୁ ନେଇକି କାମ କରିବ। ରାହୁ କେତୁକୁ ନେଇକି ଆଷ୍ଟ୍ରୋନୋମି ହେଇପାରିବ।
ଆଚ୍ଛା, ଏଇଟା ତମେ ଆଷ୍ଟ୍ରୋଲୋଜିଟାର ଥିବ।
ଆଷ୍ଟ୍ରୋଲୋଜି ଆଷ୍ଟ୍ରୋଲୋଜି ବାବଦରେ ମୁଁ କିଛି କହୁନି। ଆଷ୍ଟ୍ରୋଲୋଜିଟା ହଉଛି ଅଲଗା। ଆଷ୍ଟ୍ରୋଲୋଜି ହଉଛି କନଫ୍ୟୁଜିଂ, ତାପରେ ଡିବେଟେବୁଲ। ଇଟ୍ସ ନଟ୍ ଏ ସାଇନ୍ସ। ବହୁତ ଲୋକ କହନ୍ତି ସାଇନ୍ସ ନୁହଁ। ଆଷ୍ଟ୍ରୋଲୋଜି କଥା ମୁଁ କିଛି କହୁନି। ଆଷ୍ଟ୍ରୋନୋମି
ମାନେ ପ୍ରଥମରୁ ତ ଟପ୍ ଥିଲା ୟୁରୋପ, ଇଏ ଏଠି ସେଠି, କିନ୍ତୁ ବେସିକ ତ ହଉଛି ସେଟା ବେସିକ। କିନ୍ତୁ ଆମେ ଜାଣି ମୁଁ ବେସିକ କଥା କହୁଛି ପୁରାଣ ଶାସ୍ତ୍ର ଅନୁସାରେ। ମୁଁ ଯେତିକି ଜାଣିଛି ଯେ ଆମର ମେଦିନୀ ହେଲା ମେଦରୁ ମେଦିନୀ ହେଇଛି। language starts from Sanskrit. ତ ଅନ୍ୟ ଲାଙ୍ଗୁଏଜ କିଛି ନଥିଲା ତାପରେ ସେଗୁଡ଼ା ଧୀରେ ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟିଂ ହେଇଥିଲା ସଂସ୍କୃତ ଲାଙ୍ଗୁଏଜ
ନା ନା ଲାଙ୍ଗୁଏଜ ଶିବଙ୍କ ଡମ୍ବରରୁ ଦି ପଟରୁ ଶିବଙ୍କର ଡମ୍ବରର ଦି ପଟରୁ ଲାଙ୍ଗୁଏଜ ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ ହେଇଛି ଭାଷାର ଆରମ୍ଭ ହେଲା ଶିବ ଡମ୍ବରୁ ବଜାଇଲେ ସେଥିରୁ ଭାଷା ବାହାରିଲା
ଭାଷା ଯୋଉ ବାହାରିଲା ସେଟା ଫାଷ୍ଟ ଭାଷା ହଉଛି ସଂସ୍କୃତ
ହଁ ଏ ତ ଯୋଉପଟଟା ବାଜିଲା ପ୍ରଥମ ବାହାରିଲା ଯୋଉଟା ସେଟା ଫାଷ୍ଟ ଭାଷା କିନ୍ତୁ ତା ଦିହରୁ ଅନ୍ୟ ଗୁଡାକ ବାହାରିଛି ବୋଲି କହିବାଟା ଠିକ ଶାସ୍ତ୍ର ଅନୁସାରେ ଶାସ୍ତ୍ରରେ ଶିବ ଡମ୍ବରୁ ବଜେଇଲେ ସେଥିରୁ ଭାଷା
ନାଇଁ ସେ ଠିକ ଅଛି କିନ୍ତୁ
ସଂସ୍କୃତ ମୂଳ ବୋଲି କୁହାଯାଉଛି ଲିଙ୍ଗୁଇଷ୍ଟିକରେ କୁହାଯାଉଛି ଲିଙ୍ଗୁଇଷ୍ଟିକ ସାଇନ୍ସରେ କୁହାଯାଉଛି ଯେ ସଂସ୍କୃତରୁ ଆରମ୍ଭ ହେଇଛି ବହୁତ ଗୁଡେ ଭାଷା ବାହାରିଛି ସବୁ ନୁହେଁ ୟୁରୋପିଆନ ଏସିଆନ ଭାଷା ବହୁତ ଗୁଡେ ସଂସ୍କୃତ ଆଫ୍ରିକାନ ଭାଷା ସଂସ୍କୃତ ମିଶି ଆଉ ଉମେଶ ଉମେଶ